up, everybody? Max Cavalera here, Soulfly, and you listen to BODS Mayhem Hour. Stay metal.
Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour, your source for all hard rock, heavy metal, new metal, alternative, punk, horror punk, hardcore, rock, and all local bands, with your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bodfather.
Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I'm your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bodfather, and as always, I'm bringing you guys awesome interviews. It's an honor and privilege to have Mr. Max Cavalera back on the show. He's a guitarist and vocalist of Soulfly. Soulfly is set to release their 11th studio album, Ritual, on October 19th via Nuclear Blast. And it's crazy to think Soulfly has that many albums out at this time. So, man, how's it going?
Yeah, it is insane. I never even thought of that could even be possible. But, you never know those things when you're making a band. And, it just seemed like it was yesterday that we were making our first record, recording Eye for an Eye and No and Tribe. And now it's, 11 records later. And there's something special about this record, man. It's a bit like a trip back in memory lane. Some of the elements that made the Soulfly music, this album, I think, is probably the most complete Soulfly record we ever did, with all the elements from tribal to the heavy grooves, all the way to the thrash metal, death metal influences, and the great gas with Randy from Lamb of God and Ross from Immolation. Feels like a really cool Soulfly record. To me, it feels like a classic already for the ages. Even has not even come out yet, but it just feels like it's already an album that is gonna be a classic album for a long time. I'm just happy with the way it came. I can't wait for all the fans to hear.
So this kind of hits home for you then on this album for you guys then.
It did, man, because we were after 20 years, you kind of analyze your career and you kind of want to give the fans what they really want. And I felt that the Soulfly fans were missing the tribal stuff, man. They've been asking for me for a long time, and I wanted to revisit that myself because being one of the creators of that style, originators with records like Chaos and Roots and Soulfly 1, to me feels good. Feels a little bit like the record is a mix of a little bit Chaos AD, a little bit Roots, a little bit Soulfly 1, a little bit Primitive, and a little bit of Prophecy, and a little bit of Psychosis, which is the Cavalera one we just did. All the elements are in this record and makes for just a really cool, powerful record. I'm really proud. I hope we can tour a lot of it, do a world tour and tour everywhere. I'm trying to come up with a really cool stage presence, like some statues and some crazy shit, like real ritualistic kind of shit for the stage. And it's going to be cool, man. I think it's definitely, we step up on the songwriting. The production of Josh Wilbur is great. He did a great job on the production. And I think we really create something that we can be proud of it, and I think the fans are going to really dig it. Judging from the reaction, we have 2 songs out now. We have Evil in Power and Ritual, and the Summoning, too, if you count the live videos. People are really loving this record, and that's just the beginning. There's so much more inside the album for people to enjoy. It's really cool. And
I'm so glad that you guys did the tribal stuff, because to me, and I'm not knocking anything that you guys done because it's been fucking great, man. But to me, the tribal stuff is Soulfly's stamp. That's you guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. It's kind of one of those things. It's kind of like your trademark. Yeah, and I kind of forgot about that for a while, and I made all these other records, and they're all cool, man. I love Dark Ages and Omen and Enslaved and Archangel, but it just felt right to go back to the tribal sound and work with the Navajos. That was another trip, man, working with the Navajos on this album. That was a crazy experience. I mean, I've been going there for a couple of years now. I know the vice president. He's a fan of Soulfly. And we did a show for the commemoration of 150 years of the treaty with America, and we were the band that got to play. And at one point, we had all these little kids on the stage on Eye for an Eye, all these little tribal Indian kids. Man, it was a trip.
That's awesome.
And got to record their voices the way I did it, which was totally do-it-yourself.
Yeah.
I just drove there with my wife, got a hotel room in Tuba City, invited the Navajos to my hotel room. I had a microphone, a $10 Radio Shack microphone, and I recorded on my 4-track and sent it all to Josh. And Josh put it all over the album. And right now, the intro, the ritual intro with the Navajo chant, made my day, made my life. You know, I think I'm happy enough to say that's one of the finest tribal collaborations I ever done.
That's awesome, and congrats on doing that, man, because I think a lot of that gets looked over, but thank you as a fan for doing that. That's awesome.
Yeah, and it was fun, too. It's cool doing shit like that. I love it. I mean, it's easy you can go on YouTube and grab a chant from any tribes, and it will sound cool, but it's missing the X factor of going there and recording it on your own. Like, especially the way I did it, which was do it yourself, like really punk rock. Just go in a hotel room with them and sit in the middle of the circle with a drum circle and let them just do the chants and be right there with a microphone recording. Dude, that was amazing. That was like one of the coolest things I ever done, and it felt really cool, and I'm glad. Mostly we use it on Ritual and another song called Blood on the Street, which is about a Navajo girl that was murdered by the police. But it's cool. I'm glad it's there, and it's part of why Ritual has that tribal feeling all over, just like the early Soulfly, just like Roots. This is another record of that caliber.
Now, you mentioned you worked with producer Josh Wilbur, who's also worked with Killer Be Killed, Lamb of God, and Gojira. How's working with him, and does he step in when he needs to push you guys, or he just let you do your own thing?
Oh, he pushes like a lot. At some points, even kind of intimidating, you know. He was asking me for a groove song, and he drove me nuts, you know. And I was like, dude, leave me alone. I don't want to think about groove songs right now. I'm writing a fast song, you know. And then he, like half an hour later, he'll come by me. Hey, Max, where's my groove song? Did you have it yet? You know. And it was just fun, man. It was just funny, and it was kind of cool because he was pushing for the groove songs, and I was pushing for more of the death metal, thrash metal songs. And in this kind of friendly friction of one pushing one side, the other one pushing to the other side, we made a killer record because of that. And he's a super producer, man. You know, he's got a Grammy with Megadeth, and you know, all the Lamb of God stuff is great. Gojira stuff is great. The Trivium album is amazing. You know, his repertoire is amazing. You know, like he has worked with so many great bands. But he came into this album as a fan. He's a big fan of Max, and he's like his favorite records, KLAD, Roots, and Soulfly 1. And he wanted to do an album that he wanted to hear as a Soulfly fan more than a producer. And I think that's kind of cool. That's why maybe this album came out differently. It was because of Josh producing. I think that has a big factor in it.
Do you feel that Soulfly is still pushing the boundaries when creating your albums from album to album still to this day?
I do, man. I think we're doing it in our own way too, which I think is cool. I think Ritual is still, even though it's coming from an idea of the early stuff, bringing back the early elements, still feels fresh and new to me. You know, like songs like Ritual and The Summoning and Under Rapture has a great feel to it, man. It's just, we're still pushing the boundaries. I listen to a lot of metal, man. I'm telling you, like, I listen to a lot of underground stuff, you know, all the way from Non-Slaughter to Forest of Impale. You know, I'm a big fan of underground metal. I listen to all everything, you know, from Torturum to Obliteration to Ancient Altar. I just like all of it, and because of that, it goes into my music, you know, and somehow it comes out in my music, the influences and everything. So I still like to think we're still pushing the boundaries of metal, or what can be done in metal.
How proud are you to have your son, Zyon Cavalera, play drums in Soulfly? I mean, you've got to be very proud of this man.
Yeah, man. You know, and I think the coolest thing is that, you know, although he's my son, the reason he got the gig is from his drumming, you know, because he's a real good drummer. I wouldn't accept any less. You know, if he wasn't a good drummer, he wouldn't have made the band. You know, like I take that seriously. You know, so you got to have the chops and you got to have the skills, and he does. And especially now, especially with Ritual, when he first came in, he was still kind of learning and it was a little bit green, but his enthusiasm was contagious and his energy was amazing. And I think right now, I think what he did on Ritual is mind-blowing. And then especially the last tour we did, 9 weeks in Europe, everybody come pretty much. I did all these meet and greets after the show, and almost everybody came out of the show after the show talk about how they thought Zyon did great, did just great on drums. They didn't even talk about the show; they just talk about Zyon. So he's becoming a big draw in the Soulfly tribe world, and I think people like the connection, the father and son connection, and a lot of my fans have kids and have families, and they feel good about that. You know, they think that's cool. That's kind of like feels like a cool thing to have. And of course, as a father, I'm super proud that we get to do that. I'm enjoying every second of it, man. It's pretty amazing, especially thinking when you go back and his heartbeat was just opening Chaos AD, and then all the way to now, and he's 25 now, and he's, you know, playing with me everywhere and doing great. And it's cool, man. It's a cool story. I think it makes a great story, and we're not done writing yet. We just keep going, you know.
Now, do you do anything differently to help keep your mind open and fresh to new stuff during the writing and recording process? Do you do anything differently or no?
No, pretty much all my recordings are the same. It's the same kind of. It's like a ritual, you know. I start the day writing riffs. It goes from a lot of hours, sometimes 8 hours of riffing, and I accumulate those riffs to put them on a CD somewhere and just take them to the studio, and all of them become songs. Sometimes the song already comes, the vocal line already comes with the idea, and I sing them before the song. That was the case of Prophecy. This album didn't have anything like that. Everything was riffs first. We take all those riffs to the studio. What I do a lot when I write an album, I listen to a lot of the stuff that I want the record to kind of sound like. So I was listening to a lot of heavy stuff like Misery Index and Scour and Dark Funeral, you know. So, and then I was listening to a lot of the old stuff that kind of from that groove era, some Fear Factory, some Biohazard, and of course Soulfly 1, Primitive, just to get the vibe, just to get the influence, you know, to get the right vibe. But the songwriting has been the same now for 24 years, 25 years. It's all 4 tracks, a lot of riffs. Just collecting those riffs, take them to the studio, turn them into songs, and that's how all the records are being done. Everything, all the Cavalera stuff, all the Soulfly records, Killer Be Kill, all of them pretty much the same. And in the studio, some things change a little bit from album to album, but most of it starts with the riffs because that's what I do. I'm a riff man.
Now, I got to see you guys back in 2001 on Ozfest with the Mighty Pantera at that time, and it was badass to see the live show from you guys, Tribal, all that stuff going on. But what can fans expect at a show from the Mighty Soulfly who have not got to see you guys live as of yet?
Like I said, we're going to try to do something new in the stage, like some statues and just bringing some kind of ritualistic looking things for the stage. Maybe, I'm sure, a cool new backdrop with it. Also, maybe some things to go in front of the amps. We have also got some really cool camouflage things and all the whole things that make the Soulfly, you know, experience. And then, of course, the songs. Hopefully we get to play a lot of the old stuff, too, like we just did in Europe. We played Mars, we played Bleed, No Hope, No Fear, Tribe, Back to the Primitive, Downstroy, Babylon, you know, a lot of stuff from all the records, a little bit from every record. Because almost every record has 1 or 2 really killer songs that you can actually play live. And that by itself, it's already a whole show. And then on top of that, we have the whole ritual that I think we can play most of the songs. They'll be cool to play live. We can actually make a really kind of cool long set, maybe an hour and a half set would be great.
Support-wise, is there a country or a place that shocks you or surprises you that you guys get a lot of support from that you may not have known?
Australia is really big for us, man. You know, I've been going there for a while now, and that's where we did the Killer Be Kill shows when the first record came out. first place Soulfly was big accepted was in Australia with the Big Day Out Festival. It's always been good for me there. And, of course, Europe is always great. You know, we just did this festival in Poland. There was 700,000 people. Of course, it was a free show, but still, 700,000 people is a lot of fucking people, man. You know, it was my birthday, my 49th birthday, so it was a special day. And we had a great show. It was fantastic.
You're still young, Max Cavalera. Don't forget that, son.
That's it. That's the key word.
Hey, we lost an iconic musician, Vinnie Paul, drummer of the mighty Pantera, Hell Yeah, Damage Plan, and Rebel Meets Rebel. Do you have any cool memories of Vinnie that you would like to share, possibly with the listeners out there?
Yeah, man, Vinnie was really cool, man. You know, like really, he was a big fan of us, and it was a fun guy too. I think it's really sad. It's almost like a whole era is gone now that Vinnie and his brother are gone. Almost like the whole Texas metal era is over. You know, it's sad. Mm. My greatest memories is just drinking and partying with them, with all of them. You know, watching Pantera on both Sepultura and Soulfly tours, getting wasted on the side of the stage, going party on their bus. It was always a crazy bus. Our bus was always crazy, and I don't know how none of us didn't die from alcohol poisoning on that whole tour. It was a miracle. But sweethearts, man, him and his brother, both great. And one of my favorite things were, like, when I first started Soulfly again, nobody knew it was going to work. And so I went back to all the little fucked up clubs, you know. Roots was a big album. We're playing big places. And then when Soulfly started, I had to go back to all the shitholes. And I realized a lot of the people that came to see me on Roots did not show up to see Soulfly. It was like, he's playing this shithole. I'm not going to go see him. And not Vinnie and Paul, not Vinnie and Dimebag, man. You know, they both came on our first show in Dallas, in this little shithole. I don't even remember the name of the place. But they both came, and they were there for the whole show. Some fans were bugging them. And after the show, we took them backstage and hang out, and we did some shots. But, yeah, so that meant a lot to me, man. Like, they never cared that I wasn't with Sepultura anymore. You know, it was like, they were still friends, and I dig that about them, you know.
What's it mean to you to this day when you receive an email from a fan, or prior to the shows or after the shows, they tell you, Max, that Soulfly has gave them the experience or gave them inspiration to overcome obstacles, or it's just made them to relax and get away from the everyday bullshit that we go through?
To me, that's why we do this, man, is to get feedbacks like that. You know, like sometimes even deeper, like people battling cancer and having, like, tragedies in their life and grieving from death in their family, and say Soulfly music has helped them get through this. Wow, it's real heavy, you know, but really cool. And to me, that's the meaning of success. You know, success is not gold records and Grammy Awards. It's actually the connection you make with the fans. And a successful band can play in front of 100 people and be happy, and it's still success, even if there's only 100 people there. Those 100 people are connected to you, and we all together, it's success. You're successful. So I never, you know, I didn't get into this because of girls or money. I got into because of my passion for metal, my love for metal. And when I connect with the crowd like the way I do, when we engage like that, there's no best feeling in the world. It's the best feeling in the world, man.
Folks, Soulfly is set to release their 11th studio album, Ritual, on October 19th via Nuclear Blast. You want to get out and pick this up. Max, how can folks stick in touch with you guys, buy some merchandise, tour dates, this new album? How can you do that, good sir?
Well, there's different sites. We have soulfly.com, also nuclearblast.com. We have also Instagram. We got Soulfly Tribe, Instagram. And we have Gloria Cavalera Facebook. She does all the Growing Up Green stories, and you know, it's great. All those outlets, people can check our stuff out. We're everywhere. I'm not too much of a social media guy. I'm more kind of a caveman when it comes to that stuff. I kind of stay away from it a little bit. But there's other people like Gloria that does it, and my son Zyon, he's doing a lot of this, the Instagram now, and it's cool. We try to keep the fans as informed and happy as possible.
I just like to say, as a fan over the years, man, from Sepultura to Soulfly, and get to see you guys live at Ozfest, thank you so fucking much as a fan for what you guys bring to the table for music.
Right on, brother. Nice talking to you, man.
Before I let you go, would you care to do a promo for the show?
No problem, man. What's up, everybody? Max Cavalera here at Soulfly, and you listen to BODS Mayhem Hour. Stay metal.
Everybody stick around. We got some great music coming up, and you only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour and BODS Mayhem Radio Network. Thank you so much, good sir. I appreciate you.
No problem, man. I'll see you on tour, okay?